Hi guys, welcome to another video by Overbite Gaming, and I'm still a little bit under the weather. I still got a bit of a transient cough that's hanging in there. I don't think it'll be as bad as last week, so apologies for the wheezing and the weird voice and everything. But let's talk about Phantasmagoria. Now, this was a game I bought brand new with birthday money. Back when it came out I think on 6 CDs overall. Now that's an impressive amount of CDs, especially for the time. And the time is kind of like what made it really special for me. It was in the peak of the full motion video sort of game boom, with like Under a Killing Moon and Wing Commander 3 being released around there as well. And around there is 95, I should say, just to let you know. But this was a different kettle of fish. This was a grown-up game. This had like gore and struggle cuddles. I'm not advocating struggle cuddles, I just made that perfectly clear. Horrible thing, but it was in the game, and it got a lot of flack because of it, and of course that just makes you want to play it more. It didn't even get released in Australia, and it became like Sierra's best-selling adventure game ever. It was done by the Roberta Williams, who is very famous for doing the King's Quest game. And she did a decent job. It's a bit of a cliche story. So you've got Adrian Delaney and her husband Don move into a house which was previously owned by a 19th century magician called Carno. And he had delved into black magics and summoned a demon, got possessed by it, and then murdered his wives, 5 of them. I'm not sure why you would marry a guy with 4 dead wives already, but there you go. I guess he was quite well off, because his house is like a palatial estate. So, yeah. Adrian is a mystery writer, and Don is a photographer. And Adrian, I would assume, brings in the lion's share of the money, because she is a successful author, where Don likes taking pictures. Which, you know, okay, good for you. I respect that, but I'm pretty sure Adrian's bringing in the lion's share there. And what happens is you go poking around the mansion, and Adrian accidentally unleashes the demon again, and it possesses Don this time, and he becomes more aggressive and jealous and, well, mental, basically. The acting is okay. The lead in it, Victoria Morcell, does a pretty good job. She had to work her arse off. She did like 10 to 12 hour days, 6 days a week for 3 months to get all the filming done. And she wore the same, I don't know if it was like, it's probably not the same clothes, but the same sort of outfit, if you like. Just because they didn't want her changing clothes during the game. They wanted to be able to reuse footage of her opening doors and shit. So they didn't have to like go and like film it like with 7 times with different clothes or whatever. The gore is really well done. They hired industry professionals. It was a very expensive game to make. It was, I think it was about 2.5 million, and it was also they erected a studio specifically for it that cost 1.5 million. It did pull in 12 million on its debuting weekend though, so it was selling 300,000 copies. So, you know, they made a profit. I'm sure they were happy with it. It was also up there in the best-selling charts for that year. As I said, it was Sierra's best-selling game ever. There are a few actors in it that are not as good. I don't think Don goes from really boring to really off the wall quite quickly, and at the end he's just something else. It's like, if you imagine the Joker but nuts. If the Joker at his level of insanity went insane again, I think you'd end up with Don. He scalps somebody, wears it as a wig, and starts licking the blood off and stuff. And it's pretty gross. But that's what I bought it for. It's amazing. The footage you're seeing is from the GOG release. I do still have the discs, but it wasn't expensive, and it saves me disc swapping, so why not? You do, as you wander through the mansion, you do see visions of Zoltan offing his previous wives in several grotesque manners. There's one that's stabbed with gardening tools and suffocated with dirt, which is lovely. One gets a wine bottle in the eye. Another has her neck contorted in some kind of device. Probably the worst one, though, is his wife Regina, or Regina, I can't remember how you say it. She likes her food. So he straps her down, puts a funnel in his mouth, and force feeds her animal entrails until she chokes to death. That's pretty grim. But Adrian isn't safe either. She can die in a number of spectacular ways, from a scythe through the head to the demon literally ripping her head in two. So, yes, not a safe place to be. It is point-and-click adventure, as you can clearly see. It's relatively simple. The puzzles aren't too bad, and you've got the skull down the bottom left there, and if you click on him, he will actually give you a hint. So he'll say, something's going on downstairs, or go outside, you need to find this. It's not like a walkthrough, but it will give you a pretty good idea about what you're supposed to be doing if you don't know, because some of it is like you don't know what you're supposed to do. You don't know that you're supposed to go to a specific location to trigger this scene, and then that moves along the story, because, you know, why would you know that? You can't. You would just have to blunder into it. So having him there is really helpful. The eye on the right allows you to examine things. My dearest Gaston. So you just click it from the inventory, which is the 8 black squares, and drag it over to there, and you can have a look at it. You got a little fast forward one at the middle. This allows you to obviously skip through like cutscenes you've seen before, like, okay, watching Adrian go through a door once is fine, but like by the time she's gone to that door for the 17th time, it gets a bit old. Even if I do rather like looking at Victoria myself, that top, I'm a fan, yes. It is orange specifically because they were against blue screens, and that was the best colour to film against it, so there you go. That explains why she wears an orange top. I've never understood why her jeans appear to do up at the back, though. I've always assumed it's something to do with the filmmaking process. Maybe she's got like a battery pack in there or something for a microphone or something like that. The sound quality of the voice is not good. It's always very echoey. So even when they're outdoors, it sounds like they're in like an empty room, which, you know, they are. So there you go. But I would have liked to have seen that cleaned up, and it is a bit. It does sort of break the immersion a little bit. The video quality isn't great for nowadays. I mean, these were on CDs, so they're compressed. You can watch it. Actually, I think this is the DVD version. I think they put like a DVD version of it out. I think that was the one I got. That's off the top of my head. I could be completely wrong. Because I remember in the original game, you could play it in a little sort of window within a window that took up, oh god, probably about a fifth of the viewing page. De-interlaced, and then if you had it full size, it was interlaced. It doesn't appear to be the case in GOG. So I'm assuming that was. Oh, if you heard that, sorry, that was my bin lid falling shut for some strange reason. Obviously, I'm talking about spooky things, and it doesn't like that. Hey, creepy. So yes, Phantasmagoria. It's a solid game. It's more notable for being groundbreaking at the time. I mean, if you've ever played Game Dev Tycoon and you release your first adult game, and you get like, oh yeah, this X Studios has released an adult game, and experts agree that this is a good thing, and we need more variety and stuff. And this was sort of it at the time in the particular format. So getting to see like, you know, heads being crushed and brains coming out, and, you know, Don getting handsy. No, let's just leave it there. But
thanks, honey.
You know, it was something that we'd not seen before in this format. I mean, there've been a few games that you get, like really sort of more just. You know, I remember it like one of my mates having an Amiga game where you had a little sort of little box on the screen where you had a digitized sort of 7 frames of video of 2 people fucking, and you'd have to wiggle the joystick back and forth to make them go. It's you know, that was the kind of level of adult. They didn't really put it into a product to present. Ow. I mean, obviously this isn't that extreme, but They didn't really put it into a product to present that until much later. So you've got games like Subverse now, which are genuinely a game, but they also have the adult content to go with it. And no, I will not be reviewing that because that would be a fucking nightmare to do on YouTube. And Phantasmagoria came along and you're like, okay, it's a Sierra point-and-click adventure. They've done tons of those and they're good at them. But then you've also got all the adult content as well. And, you know, you never see, like, Adrian nude or anything like that. It's all very... and the most extreme stuff is obviously the handsy Don bit. You don't see anything during that. She's wearing like a 90 and he's just stood between her legs, basically. So, you know, that is as close as you get to raunch, if you like. But there is a lot of gore, which is always good. I love my gore. And it was just a breath of fresh air when I first played it. And even now, going back to it, it's, you know, you can pick apart, oh, the video's not great, the sound's bad, some of the acting's not up to snuff. But even then, I still have a lot of fun with it. Even though I know exactly where it's going, and I know that Don's weakness is a plastic snowman. It is. Just trust me on that. But yeah, Phantasmagoria, great game. Probably not my favourite point-and-click adventure. I think it doesn't quite reach the heights of like a Monkey Island or Beneath the Still Skies, stuff like that. But it certainly is fun. It's, at the time, as I said, it was kind of revolutionary in the fact that you had all this mature content in there as well. Whereas before it was just like, no, I don't know. Curse of Enchantia, that's another one that doesn't get talked about very much. I had that on the Amiga. I remember it being sort of lauded because it didn't have any text. It was all contextual, and you had like 2 voice samples that you could use at certain points. That was quite good. Anyway, before I get any further off track, that's my review of Phantasmagoria. I don't think it's very much on GOG. I should have looked up how much it is. It can't be that much, maybe a tenner. So if you want to give it a go on there. It works. The GOG version works absolutely fine on modern systems. This is a bit of a late in the day sort of approach because I was going to do John Woo's Stranglehold. Unfortunately, that behaves less well on modern systems, so I need to iron out some bugs. Much like Phantasmagoria, I've got the GOG and the disc versions of that. The disc version is completely no-go for me. I just can't get it going. The GOG version gets me in-game, but then hangs. So, I'll have to see what I can do. Maybe next week if I can get it going. But yeah, Phantasmagoria. Let me know if you played it and what you thought about it down below. And did you play the sequel? I also have the sequel. I don't like it as much. And that's not just because I don't like oogling Curtis as much as I like to oogling Adrian, even though that's the case. It reminds me a little bit of Darkseid, and it's sort of like alien, extra-dimensional stuff rather than just like horror, which I don't like as much, although there is a bondage scene in it, so it's probably worth playing just for that, really. I do have, was it Gabriel Knight 2? The Beast Within. I have literally never played it, though. I really should. I should play that. I bought it and just didn't play it. I don't know why. I love the original Gabriel Knight game, The Sins of Our Fathers. That was great. There's another good point-and-click review after it. Especially if you got the voice version. That's pretty good. Anyway, guys, waffled on far too much. I'll catch you next time. I didn't cough. I'm a bit froggy, but I didn't cough, so yay me. I'm approaching being a human again. Oh, God. I'm not sure if that's a good thing. Anyway, guys, take it easy. I'll catch you next time.